War with China could change everything in America, and it's following Ray Dalio's exact economic cycle. My name is Coach JV. What I work to do is I work to make the complex strategies very simple so you can apply them into your normal everyday life. This is the greatest time in human history to transform your family's wealth timeline. But if you don't rewire the foundation and financial education, you're always going to end up in the same situation. So in today's video, I'm going to break down Ray Dalio's Changing World Order once again, and we're going to see how accurate he is. We are now in tensions with China. Russia avoided G7 sanctions. It is all coming to a head. And when there's bad economic policies and countries are in debt, often we go to war. But before we do, I want to thank everybody. We've had almost 9,000 downloads of the book. 5-star reviews across the board. We're very grateful. It's an absolutely free book. I'll show you that in just a minute. I want to make this very, very clear. I will never proactively DM you. That is not me communicating with you. We do not ask you about your portfolio or your investments. Those are all scammers. I hate that I have to say this on every video, but I want to protect my friends. What we do have is we have a Warrior Academy, an education academy. We've helped over 7,000 people. We also have a free consultation with my Index Universal Life team. We teach you tax code 7702, how to secure your money during these times and retire tax free through insurance. And then we have the free book. It's in the description of this video. It's in the description of TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Twitter, did I say it? Instagram and Twitter in the bio. You can click there. Okay, let me show you really quickly what the book's all about, and then we'll get this video started. Okay, so this is the book here. So all you're going to do is go to the description of YouTube, the bio of Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram. Click, and you can put your email in, and you get my exact blueprint absolutely free. You can also, within those subscriptions, set up a free consultation with my insurance team, or you can jump right into the Warrior Academy if you're ready to dive in head first. All right, so let's dive into this, okay? So first, we're going to revisit this because what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Now, I've been studying Ray Dalio's information incessantly for a very, very long time. It is so intriguing to me how deep he went into research. If you look at history, you can predict the future through patterns, right? But what we need to understand is we're not here to repeat consciousness. We're here to drill and expand consciousness. But what this shows is humans repeat and parrot information over and over again until one person like you decides to draw a line in the sand, be more committed to the pain of change, and rewires the foundation to end up in a different situation. So if you take a look at the black dots, 13, 14, 15, 16, that's when everything starts to change into a new world order. So 13 is large dents. 14 is printing money. We have massive amounts of debt. We had 33 trillion, printed more money than history. We have internal conflict in America, left versus right. You know, the Disney stuff happening. Everybody's fighting against each other. Loss of reserve currency. We're in that process right now. I know everybody's like, oh, we're not going to lose our dominance, but we're slowly starting to hand superpower over. Weak leadership. What's your opinion? And civil war and revolution. So now we are heading into everybody going against each other. And we're heading into, well, let's go back, right? So when Russia invaded Ukraine, America stepped in, has been sending tons, billions over to Ukraine, but won't even help people in America, okay? Then Biden said about a year ago, he said, if China invades Taiwan, we have semiconductors there, that yes, we will defend Taiwan with military power, okay? Now here we are. This is Russia starting to, because we sanctioned Russia, right? It was all financial. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, what we did was we took them off the SWIFT system. So we tried to detach them from the system. Well, Russia right now, September 24th, you're going to see oil prices skyrocketing, gas prices skyrocketing, making it more difficult right when consumers, credit cards are maxed. Right when companies are starting to lay people off, gas prices are shooting through the roof. It's almost making it impossible for someone making under 6 figures to survive. To be comfortable, you have to make about $240,000 a year. Think about that for just a moment, okay? So Russia dodges G7 price cap sanctions on most of its oil exports, Financial Times report. So basically, they dodged it. They dodged the this oil crisis or this oil increase. It says almost 3/4 of all seaborne Russian crude flows travel without Western insurance in August, according to analysts of shipping and insurance records by Financial Times. Russia cut its seaborne diesel and gas oil exports by 30%, $1.7 million metric tons, in the first 20 days of September. And for the same time in August, Russia temporary ban on exports of gasoline and diesel to most countries announced last week was expected to further tighten supplies. Okay, so they're not now starting to kind of avoid and move around these sanctions, right? They all want to start their own currency. They want to start trading their own currency. We're heading into a new financial system, family. That's what this is all about. Just take the wool off of our eyes. This is all problem, reaction, solution. Whoever creates a problem creates a reaction in the people, comes up with the solution. When you look this way, there's another narrative going on this way. Okay. So this is a video that came out 2 days ago. It says, is U.S. preparing for war against China? So we're going to listen to their opinion. And then now this is the narrative.
Is upgrading America's aging.
This is a narrative that is popping all over the internet right now. It's all over the media. And so now the new narrative is starting.
Defense Department is upgrading America's aging nuclear arsenal. The U.S. spending more than $750 billion replacing our aging nuclear defenses. Meanwhile, Reuters reports the Navy is overhauling its undersea surveillance network in an effort to counteract China's surging naval power. International law attorney David Tafuri served as foreign policy advisor to Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign and as the rule of law coordinator for the U.S. Embassy in Iraq during the George W. Bush administration. Quite the resume here. Let's get started with what's being called the most ambitious nuclear weapons undertaking since the Manhattan Project. Should we take this as the Pentagon preparing for a likely conflict?
No, I wouldn't say this means conflict is inevitable, but what it means is that the United States is waking up to the fact that China has built a huge naval fleet, that China is embarking on the most ambitious program to build its nuclear arsenal. And these are potential threats to the United States that we need to be on the lookout for. And so we need to update our surveillance systems. We need to update our readiness. We need to protect our territorial waters. And that's what the Navy is undertaking here, including revamping some of the systems that we had in place to monitor for submarines during the Cold War, as well as building up our own capability in terms of seaborne drones to monitor what China is doing.
Okay, so he's saying, no, that's not a sign. But remember, guys, when we're in financial trouble, what happens? We usually go to war, right? Because the people being invaded, it destroys their GDP. The people that are building new ships, new technology, it creates jobs, it creates GDP growth, right? So, and I'm not some special economics specialist, but you see there's an exact pattern here. Okay, weak leadership, printing of money, large debts, we go to war. Weak leadership, large money, they lose control of the monetary system, we go to war, right? So this could have a radical pullback on the markets, which gives you a great buying opportunity. Buy when there's blood in the streets. So then this says here that China is preparing for war with U.S. Air Force Secretary, they say. Okay, then we go over here. We dive into this. China just stopped exporting 2 minerals to the world's chip maker needs. This was really interesting here, guys. So if you look at this, Hong Kong, China's export of 2 rare minerals, essentials for manufacturers semiconductors, fell to 0 in August. So we got Russia avoiding G7 sanctions. We got China, the 2 essential minerals for manufacturing semiconductors went down to 0 a month after Beijing imposed curbs on sales overseas, citing national security. China produces about 80% of the world's gallium and about 60% of germanium, according to the Critic Raw Materials Alliance. But it didn't sell any of those elements on international markets last month. Chinese custom data released on Wednesday showed in July the country exported 5.15 metric tons and forged gallium products of 8.1 tons and forged germanium products. When asked about the lack of export last month, He Yadong, a spokesperson from China's Commerce Ministry, told a press briefing Thursday that the department had received applications from companies to export 2 materials. Some applications had been approved, he said, without elaborating. That's all he said. Okay, so Russia is avoiding sanctions. Okay, we got China shutting down critical chips needed for exports, right? So you're seeing the transition now. You're seeing the narrative happening. But this is interesting. So I want you to hear your guys' opinion in the comments. So we're preparing for war for China. We're putting all this money into our military to upgrade everything. We're supposedly going after China, or we're defending ourselves from China. And then this came out on September 22nd. So I want to hear your comments. What's your thoughts on this? Treasury Department announces launch of economic and financial working groups with the People's Republic of China. Today, the United States and the People's Republic of China launched an economic working group and a financial working group under the direction of Secretary Janet Yellen. Interesting. A vice premier, don't know what that says. The two working groups will provide ongoing structured channels for frank and substantial discussions on economic and financial policy matters, as well as the exchange of information on macro and financial development. The formation of these working groups builds on consensus reached between Secretary Yellen and Vice Premier He during the secretary's trip to Beijing in July, and carries out President Biden's directive to deepen communications between the two countries following his meeting with President Xi in Bali last year. The economic working group will be held by the Department of Treasury and the China Ministry of Finance. So we're going to war with China. We're not going to war with China. We are working with China financially. Who knows, guys? This is my opinion, and only my opinion. A bird of a feather fly together. Think about that for just a moment. Birds of a feather fly together. This is why I go with my narrative that God is my president and CEO. Jesus is my guide. And one of my favorite things is when they ran up to Jesus and they said to him, "Who do we pay our taxes to?" And he looked him in the eyes and he said, "Who's on the coin?" And he said, "Caesar." He said, "Give to Caesar's what is his. Give to God what is his, and give to me what is mine." I stopped fighting this invisible enemy, guys. I don't care what president comes back. I don't. It doesn't change my activities, my behaviors. I could run to another country, but guess who I have to look in the mirror every single day? Myself. It's my actions, my behaviors, my reactions, and how I raise my kids. I am responsible for raising my kids. I am responsible for building my finances. I am responsible for my actions, my behaviors, my ability to educate myself and turn it into wisdom by activating on that education. Remember, there's only 3 things you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. In the beginning is the end. It's your actions you take today that will mold tomorrow. So instead of waiting till 2024 November for things to change, make a change in your household right now, from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed. And if you think that somebody coming back is going to make your life better, then it will only enhance your life. If you're waiting for a certain cryptocurrency to go to a certain amount and you say things are going to change, when that happens, nothing's going to change. The only thing that will change is it's going to exacerbate who you currently are. If you have anxiety and you have $1 million in your bank account, you'll have a lot more anxiety. So in the process of becoming a millionaire, a billionaire, and some of you trillionaires, it's more important who you become in the process. That's why I wrote the book, so you could see conceptually how I built this. I rewired the foundation to end up in a different situation because there was no wealth in my family. So I had to create the wealth paradigm. I had to connect to the field. Then I had to understand the actions and behaviors and the thoughts that I needed on a daily basis and how I should react to society, understanding it's not outside in, it's inside out. It's not macrocosm to the microcosm. It's my microcosm, things happening in my body, my nervous system, that's projecting out, that's connecting to my brain and my thought and my heart and my beliefs. It's projecting out and creating my reality. But when you say to the mountain, move, remember, you built a mountain. You have to break it down. You have to be patient, persistent, and you have to be committed to the pain of change and suffer with purpose. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Like I said, everything in the description of this video on YouTube or in the description of my social media platform. Click the links and we'll see you on the other side. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go.